Welcome to RSSDI TV 2020. I am Dr. Sanjay Kamble, and on behalf of VOCAT RSSDI 2020, I welcome you all. I am glad to have with us today a renowned endocrinologist from Gurugram, Dr. Dheeraj Kapoor sir. Sir is the head of Department of Endocrinology at Artemis Hospital, Gurugram, and sir has a rich clinical experience in managing diabetes. Welcome, Dr. Dheeraj Kapoor, to the show.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much.
Based on your recent talk in RSSDI 2020, we would like to know what is pre-diabetes?
So as the name says that it's on the way to diabetes and it's not normal as well. So a figure which is in between diabetes and normal glucose tolerance is called pre-diabetes. In terms of definition, if fasting plasma glucose is 100 to 125, or the after glucose, which we call the impaired glucose tolerance, is 140 to 199, it's called pre-diabetes. Defined on the basis of HbA1c, 5.7 to 6.4 is pre-diabetes, 6.5 onwards diabetes, 5.6 and below normal glucose tolerance.
Thank you. So what does pre-diabetes signify?
So pre-diabetes, there was some confusion and some complaints from the authorities that you are labeling pre-diabetes and scaring the patient. Pre-diabetes doesn't always culminate in diabetes. So why not call it at risk for diabetes? So as we know that diabetes is a metabolic disorder, and if not controlled properly, it can lead to complications like nephropathy, which is kidney, neuropathy, the nerves, retinopathy, the eyes, and also the macrovascular ones, which are stroke and MI, right? But what happens in pre-diabetes is that patients with pre-diabetes might not be at risk for nephropathy or retinopathy, but they are at risk for strokes and MIs, as are the diabetics, what we call the ticking clock hypothesis. There are some papers to show that pre-diabetic patients may also have neuropathy. That's fair enough, but the major killer, which is the cardiac or the cardiovascular disease, may also be seen in the so-called pre-diabetic population. So the importance is that as soon as it's diagnosed, we don't wait for diabetes to happen. We go to lifestyle changes straight away in terms of diet, in terms of exercise. And these days, with the packages in vogue, right? They are checking a huge lot of tests. Pre-diabetes is coming in huge, huge numbers. And I consider these people lucky to have been diagnosed at such an earlier stage so that we can diabetes prevent it from happening, and the complications also might not happen.
So how is this pre-diabetes managed?
Why should it be managed? Because half of the patients can still become non-diabetic subjects. So why not manage it? And I call these two medicines to control pre-diabetes, and they are the most difficult medicines to take. One is diet control and one is exercise. When I say diet, I mean no to sweets, no to fats, and no to fruit juices. No means maybe a cheat day or two in a month, but not more than that. Because once a diabetic patient, always a diabetic, there's no going back from there. So you have to have this control. Exercise, don't hit the gym, don't swim, hit the gym, cycle, whatever. The simplest is walking. Remember, our forefathers, they went for a morning walk called Tehelna. Didn't hit the gym, didn't go for swimming, did not jog. Did they get diabetes? Not frequently. So these are the two medicines. Well, some authorities recommend metformin, but metformin might not be required. It's controversial. It may be tried in patients who have a high fasting plasma glucose, but otherwise the mainstay of treatment would be diet control and exercise.
Thank you so much for sharing your views on prediabetes, and stay tuned to RSSDI TV 2020 for more recent updates from RSSDI 2020. Thank you so much.
Wish
Thank
you
you,
all
sir.
a very happy Deepavali.